Welcome to Active Life with Tammy. Today we are going to work on a nice slow sequence aimed at opening up the hips. To start off, you can roll all the way back onto your mat or your carpet, reaching behind the thighs, roll back nice and slow. We're going to lift one knee up over the hip and then the other, and then gently just draw those knees in and out. And then moving into a nice easy circle around. Going a few times in one direction and then a few times in the opposite direction. Nice. All right, we're going to set the left foot down and stretch that leg out away from you. Wrap your arms around the other knee and gently hug it in toward your chest. And then maybe draw that knee out a little bit and back in. Playing with this very gently. As the hip starts to warm up, you might be able to increase that motion, maybe coming out a little bit wider. Always keeping it comfortable. Okay, and then if it's comfortable for you, we're going to reach inside of that foot, grab hold of it with that hand, and again, maybe playing a little bit with the position of that leg, coming into half happy baby pose. Just finding that position where the hip can open and stretch. Always trying to keep everything comfortable. Don't want to feel any pain. And then when you find that spot where you really need to stretch, let's see if we can hold it there for a few breaths. Okay, we're going to let that go nice and easy, sending that knee back in, slowly letting that foot come back down to your mat. We're going to walk the other knee in just a little bit, take those feet out nice and wide, and then windshield wiper those legs, loosening up the hips a little bit more. Perfect. All right, let's take those stretches on the other side. Okay, pushing the right leg away from you. And we're going to take the left knee, give it a little hug in toward your chest. breathing with these stretches, giving your muscles lots of oxygen to open and begin to move. And then slowly starting to play with the position of that leg, gently moving in and out, just a little bit to start off with. And if that's comfortable, maybe increasing that range of motion. And then we're going to move into our half happy baby pose. Okay, so reaching inside of that foot, grab hold, and then moving that leg around a little bit till we find out where we need to open and stretch. Find that spot. And then sink into it, hold there, and breathe through it. Okay, nice and easy. Let's let go of that stretch. Bending the knee back in. Ever so gently, setting that foot back down on your mat. Slide your right foot in as well. Feet come out nice and wide. And once again, let's windshield wiper those legs out. Perfect. We're going to roll over to one side. And you can go ahead, push yourself up. And we are going to move into a little Baddha Konasana here, opening up the hips a little bit more. If you have really tight hips here, you might want to grab a couple of blocks or even a couple blankets or towels just to give yourself a little support with this. So we are going to walk the feet in a little bit closer to the hips, bring the soles of the feet together, and we're going to start off nice and gentle, lifting those knees up high, breathing in. And then with your exhale, just kind of let those knees fall back down toward the earth. And we're going to move with the breath, inhaling up, exhaling down. Okay, if your hips are really tight, you might have a smaller range of motion here. That's perfectly fine. Just move with what feels right. And then we're going to come into a hold, breathing up, and exhale. Relax those knees down. And here's where those blocks or blankets or towels will come in handy. So if the hips are really tight, you can take blocks and just set them under the thighs for a little bit of added support. Okay, we want the shoulders rolled out nice and wide. Lift up as much as you can through the crown of your head. breathing deeply. You can stay right here, or if you have the flexibility, take this forward a little bit. Still trying to keep the heart lifted. Keep holding, keep breathing. Okay, we're going to lift back up nice and tall. Allow those knees to come back up. And once again, take the feet out a little bit wide and just shake it out a little bit side to side. Okay, we're going to move into a seated spinal twist here. So this is good for the hips, but it's also good for the spine. So awesome little stretch here for the back. We're going to send our left leg out. You're going to give your right knee a hug. If you want to go even a little deeper into this, you can take this right foot, cross it over the left leg. Okay, but you don't have to. Work within your own comfort level. And we're going to come crossing over. Bring your left arm outside of your right knee. Take a second here to lift up a little bit taller, and then you can turn and look over your shoulder. Lovely. Let's let go of that stretch nice and slow, gently turning back. Uncross that leg if you chose to cross it. And then again, just take a second here. Shake it out side to side. And then we're going to take that spinal twist the opposite direction. So this time right leg's going to come out. Hug your left knee. Okay, and again, if you want to go a little deeper with this, you can cross that leg over. We're going to lift up through our spine. Cross the right arm outside of our left knee. And staying lifted through your spine, turn and look over your shoulder. Keep breathing. Almost there. And as always, releasing the stretch, nice and slow. Coming back where we started. Uncrossing the leg if we chose to cross it. And then shaking it out a little bit side to side. Okay, we're going to take that hip stretch just a little bit deeper here. Okay, so coming back to a full seated position, you're going to cross your right leg in front of you. We're going to take our left foot and see if we can bring it right on top of the right knee. Okay, so here's a place where blocks or a blanket might come in handy again. So if the hips are really, really tight, you might stack a block here to give yourself a little more space. You might even have a couple of blocks here if you need it. Okay, another option with this, if it's still really, really tight, is to just cross the legs farther out in front. Okay, whatever position we chose, we're going to roll the shoulders out wide. Bring your head right over the main part of your torso. Sit nice and tall and breathe. If you have it in you, you can also walk this forward a little bit. It's up to you though. Maybe that's just not in your practice, or maybe it's just not in your practice today. So, we feel different from day to day and we do what feels right for us each day that comes along. Soften your breath. And imagine each breath that you take going right into your hip, stretching, lengthening, opening. This can be a really intense stretch. So if you need to, don't be afraid to just come up, let the stretch go for a little bit, and then come back into it whenever you're ready. Perfect. Let's walk that in. Gently come out of the stretch. And again, take a second, shake it out a little bit. And then we're going to take that fire log right to the other side. So this time we're starting off with the left leg, crossing it over in front of you. And then seeing if we can bring that right foot on top of the left knee. Go ahead and grab your blocks here if you need them. Give yourself a little bit of support or cross a little bit farther out in front if you need to. Keep in mind too, the sides are not always equal, so don't be too surprised if maybe you felt like you had a lot more flexibility on one side than the other. Perfectly natural to be imbalanced from one side to the other. We all have a dominant side and a weak side, and poses like this tend to show up those differences. Okay, staying nice and lifted. If you want to, you can walk the fingertips forward, even reach out onto a block here if you want to. If we're choosing to lean forward, just make sure the heart is staying lifted and that that fold forward is coming from the hip and not from your back. And remember, if the hips are really, really tight, probably going to feel some discomfort with this. So see if you can soften your breath and find a place of comfort where you can really relax, release, allow that hip to let go, find that space for openness. Okay, when you're ready, walk it back up. Uncross the legs, shake it out a little bit. And we're going to swing the legs around to one side and bring ourselves over onto hands and knees. Take a breath in, curl your toes under, and we're going to exhale. Lift here to a little downward dog. Okay, could start this off with the knees bent as much as you need to. Maybe pedal the feet a little bit, warming up the legs. Relax the head, lift through your tailbone. And we're going to plant the left heel. Breathe in, lift the right leg. And then exhale. Strengthen your core, lift up, step through. And we're going to lower the back knee, come down into a little lunge here. Okay, so we are focusing on stretching the hip flexor right at the front of the hip where it meets the leg. So you're going to find the length here that you need to feel the stretch in your hip flexor. So if you need to walk the feet farther apart, you can do that here. Okay, we want the heart again to stay lifted. So if you need to, you can lift up here onto some blocks. And we're going to take this low lunge into pigeon. If pigeon is just not in your practice, then you can stay right here with the low lunge. If it is, we're going to take this right leg, cross your right foot right over, and lower that leg down. Okay, and again, if we've got our blocks handy and you need them, go ahead and use them right here to bring a little elevation to this. And again, trying to find space for this, trying to find a place of openness, working through any discomfort. Breathing into that hip. Holding here, maybe just one more breath. Okay, when we're ready, we're going to plant those hands onto the mat. We're going to lift those hips, stepping back to downward dog. And just for a moment, releasing back into child's pose. And then quickly, before we move to the other side for our lunge and our pigeon, we're going to bring the knees together and we're going to push to one side and then to the other side. Perfect. Okay, back to our downward dog. Breathe in. Exhale. Elevate those hips. Nice big lift here. Lengthening through the spine. When you're ready, planting that right heel. We're going to lift the left leg. Breathe in. Exhale. Step through. Okay, we're going to find our lunge here. Okay, walking that foot forward till we feel that stretch come into our right hip flexor. You can lift yourself up on a couple blocks if you need to. Looking ahead, heart staying open. Okay, we're going to move this into our pigeon if that's in your practice. If not, just stay right here. Okay, we're going to walk that left foot across our mat all the way over to the right side. Lower that leg down. Okay, Okay, and just be aware, you can also always bring a block underneath you here if you need to, if that makes this more doable. And keeping the heart lifted. I try to keep the shoulders relaxed. Allowing your breath to ease any discomfort. One more breath. And then plant the palms on the mats. Breathe in. When you're ready, starting to elevate those hips. Walk that leg back. Lifting into downward dog. And then maybe taking a little sway side to side. Okay, coming back over to this right side. Gonna breathe in. Lift that right leg. With your exhale, you're gonna pull in, but this time we're gonna step that right foot to the outside of our right hand. Okay, so coming down to a little lizard pose. And if blocks are helpful here for you, you can bring those under the hands too. And we're gonna push back, just stepping back to all fours, and then releasing back to child's pose. Again, coming to all fours, curl your toes under. Exhale, lift. Breathe in. The left leg is going to lift. Let's take that lizard over to the left side. We lift in, stepping to the outside of the left foot. Lower that right knee. Feeling some nice stretch on both sides. One more breath. And then pushing the hips back just a bit. Stepping back. Bringing the knees together. Breathe in. And again, exhaling, pushing side to side. Over to the right side. Inhale through the middle. Exhale over to the left side. Okay, moving with your breath side to side. And then taking the knees out a little bit wider, big toes together, and sink right back into the middle. Relax the head down. And we're going to end today's practice right here in Balasana. Softening the breath. Feeling the stretch through the hips. Deepening the breath. Thank you for joining me today, everyone. I hope to see you soon. Namaste.